Have you ever been treated as if you were simply background noise? That quiet, dismissive feeling, the ignored suggestion, the interrupted sentence, the expectation that you'll always be available, isn't just rudeness. It is the direct price of a boundary you never drew, a frontier of the self you never declared. It's the tax you pay for prioritizing harmony over your own sovereignty. What you see in their eyes isn't anger. Anger would at least acknowledge your existence as a force. What you see is something far colder, a calculated disregard. They don't perceive you as a threat or an equal. They see you as a utility, a convenient tool, a reliable fixture, a steady source of support that asks for nothing in return. And here lies the most piercing truth. You may have silently, incrementally consented to this role. We often mistake our endless patience for profound virtue. We frame our perpetually open doors as magnificent strength. But the Stoics, those unflinching architects of inner fortitude, saw this pattern for what it truly is. Not generosity, but a quiet daily surrender of your own authority. Today, we dismantle that pattern. This journey is not about swapping kindness for cruelty or openness for bitterness. It is about trading diffusion for integrity. It's about becoming whole, integrated, and self-possessed. We will explore the 4 non-negotiable laws of self-command, principles that do not demand respect from others, but force the world to recalibrate and treat you with the seriousness you have learned to grant yourself. If you are ready to stop being a convenient option in the lives of others and start being the clear priority in your own, you have found your starting point. Law 1. Your no is the cornerstone of your sovereignty. Constantly saying yes does not make you kind. It makes you convenient. It makes you predictable. When you are perpetually available, you become, in a psychological sense, invisible. Your time appears to have no edges, no cost, no inherent value. It is an open field. And a fundamental rule of human nature is this: people do not cherish, protect, or value what they can access without effort, negotiation, or gratitude. An open field is crossed without a second thought. But the moment you utter a clear, clean, unadorned no, the entire dynamic fractures. You are no longer an open field. You have erected a gate. This shift is not minor. It is seismic. It communicates in a language deeper than words that your hours have density. Your energy has a finite reservoir, and your presence is not a public resource, but a private sanctuary. Is this selfish? To the untrained eye, perhaps. But in the Stoic framework, it is the very opposite. It is the foundational act of self-respect. You cannot pour wisdom, support, or genuine care from an empty cup. An endless yes is a guarantee that you will be drained, leaving nothing for your own dreams, your own peace, your own life. The Stoic teacher Epictetus, born into slavery and thus intimately familiar with the theft of personal boundaries, taught that freedom is the only worthy goal in life. He defined this freedom not as political liberty, but as the unwavering discipline to disregard what lies outside your control. Your no is the ultimate practice of this philosophy. You cannot control the requests, demands, or expectations of others, but you control your commitments. Your no is you exercising supreme authority over your one truly sovereign domain, your choice. When you stop the instinct to justify, explain, or soften, and instead simply decide, you are not rejecting the other person. You are choosing yourself. You are affirming that your judgment is valid because it is yours. And in that deliberate choice, you begin the most important education you will ever offer. You teach people how to treat you. They start to understand, sometimes unconsciously, that your time is a limited currency and you are a discerning investor. So I ask you, when was the last time you delivered a no that stood alone, without a trailing apology or a cushion of excuses? That flicker of guilt you feel isn't a warning sign you've done wrong. It is the growing pain of a spine being straightened after years of bending. Law 2. Cultivate strategic scarcity, not constant availability. Value is fundamentally, inescapably tied to rarity. Consider a diamond. It is precious not merely because it sparkles, but because it is difficult to find. Its scarcity defines its worth. Now, apply this unyielding economic law to the economy of you. If you are always present, always responsive within minutes, always emotionally on call, you have, quite literally, made yourself common. You have flooded your own market, devaluing your attention, your time, and your presence. Think of the individuals you genuinely admire and respect. Are they perpetually accessible, or do they possess a dignified distance, a subtle aura that suggests their focus is invested elsewhere on important, meaningful things? This is not about manipulating others or playing childish games of hard to get. This is about honoring your own mission. By strategically withdrawing, creating blocks of time for deep work, for uninterrupted thought, for simply being unreachable, you accomplish two powerful things. First, you create a vacuum of curiosity in your wake. People notice thoughtful absence. They wonder what you are building, what project commands your focus, what inner landscape you are exploring. Second, and more importantly, your eventual return now carries weight. Your attention transforms from a cheap commodity, always in supply, into a valued gift. This is the profound power of strategic scarcity. It forces the world to lean in to hear you, to seek you out, rather than you straining day after day to be heard over the relentless noise. Ask yourself this: who controls your presence? Is it you, guarding your focus like a precious resource? Or is it the ping of a notification, the chime of a message, the unspoken expectation of immediate reply? The path to being valued begins with becoming less arbitrarily available. Start disappearing on purpose, not out of spite, but out of respect for your own purpose. Let your productive silence speak volumes about the important life you are building when you are away. Law 3. Master the unsettling weight of silence. We, as a culture, are terrified of pauses. In conversation, in negotiation, in conflict, we rush to fill any void with words, explanations, justifications, and nervous noise. We mistake this constant chatter for control, for competence, for keeping the social wheels greased. But true authority, the kind that settles a room and commands attention without a raised voice, resides in the quiet. Here is a practical exercise in reclaiming power. The next time someone interrupts you, dismisses your point, or tries to steamroll you in conversation, try this: stop talking. Do not immediately jump back in to reclaim your turn. Simply stop. Hold the space you occupy. Stay calm and let the silence you have created expand. It will become heavy. It will become tangible. In that uncomfortable, stretching void, their disrespect, their interruption, will echo back at them, naked and obvious. Your silence in that moment is not passive. It is an active, formidable force. It silently declares, "I will not scramble to justify my right to occupy this space. I occupy it by right, and my calm is my claim." The loudest person in the room is often the most insecure, compensating for a lack of substance with a surplus of sound. Real power rests in the calm, still center of the storm. This mastery of silence is a quintessential Stoic superpower. Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, wrote his meditations not for publication, but for his own private clarity. He understood that the mind's fortitude, its inner citadel, is built in the quiet moments of reflection, not in the reactive skirmishes of public debate. Your ability to withstand silence, to not feel the compulsive need to explain, defend, or fill the air, signals a profound inner security. It communicates that your worth is not hanging on the next word you speak. Others can feel this stability. Consequently, they will begin to listen more intently to the fewer, more considered words you do choose to offer. Your voice will carry not because it is the loudest, but because it has become rare, weighted, and intentional. So the next time you feel that social pressure to speak, to smooth things over, to explain yourself, pause. Ask internally, is what I am about to say necessary noise, or is it a necessary truth? Often, letting the silence do the work is more powerful than 10,000 pleas for respect. Law 4. Become intimately comfortable standing alone. This is the ultimate test, the final forge where self-command is tempered into unbreakable steel. All your discipline, all your boundaries, all your practiced no's mean nothing if they shatter the moment you are faced with the prospect of solitude. We so often cling to draining relationships, tolerate toxic situations, and remain in environments that diminish us. Not because they serve us, but because we dread the alternative, being alone with ourselves, with our own thoughts, without the noise of others to define us. But here is the iron, non-negotiable law of self-respect. You must be willing to stand alone, genuinely and peacefully, before you can ever stand truly strong with others. If your sense of worth is tethered to another's approval, you have willingly handed them the keys to your inner kingdom. They hold the power to validate or demolish you with a glance, a comment, a withheld compliment. The Stoic journey is, at its heart, one of interior fortification. It is the meticulous daily work of building a citadel within your own mind, a place of such security and self-sufficiency that external validation becomes a pleasant luxury, not a vital oxygen. When you reach this point, a profound and almost magical shift occurs in your external world. You cease to magnetically attract people who seek to use, drain, or manipulate you. Your quiet self-possession acts as a filter. Instead, you begin to attract those who recognize and resonate with that same inner strength. They are drawn to your peace, not your desperation. The wrong people, the users, the disrespectful, the entitled, will naturally, sometimes abruptly fall away from your life. See their departure not as a loss, but as the removal of a weight you were never meant to carry. The respect you have been chasing in all the wrong places will finally find you, but only when you stop desperately needing it from others. This is the final law. So let's be brutally honest. Can you sit in a quiet room with only your own thoughts for company and be truly at peace? Not bored, not anxious, not scrolling for distraction, but genuinely calmly at peace. If the answer is a hesitant no, then understand this. Every boundary you attempt to set will remain fragile. It will be built on the shifting, unstable sand of other people's opinions and your fear of their disapproval. You must build your foundation on the solid, immovable rock of your own conviction. Become a person whose own company is not just tolerable, but genuinely nourishing, interesting, and sufficient. From that unshakable, self-sufficient center, you will command a respect that requires no loud demands, no forceful arguments, no desperate campaigns. It will require only your calm, unwavering, and complete presence. Integration, from reactor to creator. These 4 laws are not mere tips or social hacks. They are an integrated framework for achieving psychological sovereignty. They engineer a fundamental identity shift, from being a reactor, buffeted by the demands, moods, and expectations of others, to being a creator, deliberately architecting your life and interactions from a place of inner strength. This path is not comfortable. You will feel friction. People accustomed to your limitless compliance will push back. They will question your new boundaries, attempt to guilt you for your selfishness, and test your resolve. Recognize this discomfort for what it is, not a sign that you are wrong, but irrefutable proof that you are changing. It is the grinding, necessary sound of old chains, chains you've carried for years, finally breaking. So start today. Do not attempt to overhaul everything at once. Choose just one of these laws. This week, deliver one clean, unapologetic no. Create one period of intentional, purposeful scarcity, an afternoon offline, a weekend without social commitments. Sit through one powerful, deliberate silence in a conversation where you would normally rush to speak. Reclaim one quiet hour for yourself, utterly alone, and simply be within it. These small, deliberate acts are the bricks, and with each one you lay, you are constructing something formidable, a life that is impossible to ignore, a presence that is impossible to disrespect, and a peace that is impossible to steal. If this path to sovereignty resonates with you, I ask you to like this video. That simple act signals to the algorithm that this message matters, helping Stoic mindset mastery guide others toward their own unshakable foundation. Now, I am curious, which of these 4 foundational laws feels most challenging, yet most necessary, for you to enforce in your life right now?